Been labeled the silent killer, and for good reason. With few or no symptoms, prostate cancer will take your life, and you won't see it coming.
Well, I mean, there are some symptoms. I mean, you know, getting up frequently at night to go to the bathroom. When you are going to the bathroom, you know, it's kind of weak. It's taking you a long time. You can't get going. Those are the two main ones I can think of, but the other one is you really have to be proactive and get checked. If you don't do that, you could go quite some time and not figure it out. I mean, you have to know the symptoms. It's like any other thing. If you get a pain in your chest, you know that you might have a heart attack. Well, if you're getting up all the time at night to go to the bathroom, maybe you ought to get your PSA checked to figure out what's going on.
The prostate is a walnut-sized gland below the bladder and is part of the male reproductive system. The prostate gland surrounds the urethra, a tube that carries urine and semen out of the body. Men have a prostate gland because it creates most of the fluid in semen. This fluid nourishes and protects sperm. For any man, getting news of prostate cancer is devastating. But not getting checked or catching it in time will absolutely take your life.
I was working not terribly far from here in the Central West End. We were doing a story regarding school. We were out on location. I was editing the story. I was busy. My cell phone rang. I looked down. And, you know, it's television news. We're always, like, behind. We have to keep hurrying. I said, you know, folks, I've got to take this call. And I stepped out of the live truck, and my urologist was on the other end. And he said, well, Steve, I'd like you to come to the office. I said, you know what, doctor, I'm a big boy, and I don't have time for this. Just tell me what you got to tell me. And he told me, he said, well, you have prostate cancer. I said, all right, what's the next step? He said, you need to make an appointment, you need to come in and talk to me, you need to bring your wife, and do that, you know, first thing in the morning. I said, okay, I'll do that. I closed my cell phone, I went back inside the truck, I continued to edit, I did the 2 live shots, and I drove back to the television station and went home. And I think all the time that I was driving home, you know, I knew the toughest part was going to be telling my family. I think it is for everybody. Because I still think that it's easier for me to have prostate cancer than it is for them to deal with the fact that I have prostate cancer. But you know, it is what it is. You have to push forward.
Prostate cancer affects not only the man, it attacks the family physically, emotionally, financially, and psychologically. When the man has prostate cancer, the family has prostate cancer.
I sat my wife down and I told her, and she said, well, we're going to do whatever we have to do to get this right. You know, we're going to move forward. And then I brought both of my daughters over. I don't know whether it was that night or the next day, and I told them. And they pretty much have the same proactive idea. And one of my daughters is a registered dietitian, so she's got a fair amount of medical knowledge, so she kind of understands the situation probably better than the rest of the family. And we just move forward from there. I mean, we kind of move forward as a family. That's what we do.
Prostate cancer does not play favorites. It is not prejudice. It attacks all colors and races, rich and poor, weak and strong, old and young.
Well, openly and honestly, because of men like Minister Farrakhan and Rudy Giuliani, John McEnroe, the great Nelson Mandela, they were talking about their battle with prostate cancer. At the time I was diagnosed, I was 36 years old at the time. So hearing that story, their stories, I decided when I go back to the doctor, I would ask for a PSA test because I've been pretty proactive when it comes to my health. And when I asked for it, I got the test. Usually, like most of the time with women, it is with men, if you're under the age of 40, usually they won't give you the PSA test, or women with the mammogram. But this particular nurse practitioner, Kathleen Cho, and she's one of my guardian angels, she had given me the test. And after she had given me the test, well, I had a complete blood count, and everything came back near perfect, but the PSA was elevated. So it was like, I think it was at a 5 at the time. So she said, Mr. Muhammad, come back in 30 days, let's retest you on your PSA, which stands for prostate-specific antigen. So we did, and the numbers kept rising. So she said, well, you want to make an appointment to get a digital rectal exam? I said, no, we'll do it right now. And I did that, and she said my prostate felt swollen. And so that's how I discovered that I had prostate issues. And then I went to another primary care physician, and then my numbers kept rising. The PSA continued to rise, so it was like 5.56. So that was June, July. So in August, I knew I was in trouble. What in particular, I had no clue. So then that's when I made an appointment with Dr. Arnold Bullock at Barnes Jewish Hospital.
Silently, viciously, relentlessly, prostate cancer invades the body, and unless it is discovered, prostate cancer destroys lives.
Because I had not a symptom. I'm walking around with a stage 3 prostate cancer. 4 is usually when they can't do much for you, and I had no clue I was sick, not one symptom.
Even a healthy body can be attacked by prostate cancer.
But when I got the phone call, I was shocked, because I had never had a sick day in my life.
Although prostate cancer can be deadly, getting to a doctor and getting diagnosed can save your life.
Well, what led to that diagnosis was a simple phone call. The phone call that many prostate cancer survivors get from their urologist indicating that I had a very, very aggressive form of prostate cancer. On the Gleason scale for grading the disease, I was graded at a stage 2 and at a stage 9 on the Gleason scale.
The Gleason scale provides an effective measurement that helps your doctor determine the severity of the prostate cancer.
Well, the stages go from 1 through 4, and usually the higher the stage, the more severe the cancer is. And 4 is usually when there's not much that they can do for you anymore. And I was at a stage 3. So when I found out, I was numb. I felt real bad. I really didn't understand, because I'm a vegetarian. I don't smoke, I don't drink. There's no one in my family that I know of who has the disease or had to battle the disease. So it was a very difficult time in my life, finding that out.
Some good news is that every year, fewer men die from prostate cancer because of early detection and support.
What I would like to say to them is that early detection is the best protection. If this disease is detected early, then the survival rate can get greater. So we have to have an understanding on how important it is to get into that doctor's office and get that simple blood test, because it's that simple blood test that might save your life.
There are 2 important steps in fighting prostate cancer. Step number 1 is getting tested and diagnosed. Step number 2 is finding support to fight the disease.
I started lending myself to groups and organizations throughout the city of St. Louis that were working on prostate cancer awareness. Yet, Brother Shaheed himself was still damaged from the disease, emotionally and psychologically. And I know deep down inside that I needed help. So I started looking for a support group to kind of help me through my journey and my battle with this disease. I contacted the American Cancer Society as well as some other agencies, but there was no support group in the urban community to help men as they battle this disease. So myself and my very good friend, Brother Isidore Wayne, we decided to start our own support group, that would help men as they battle this disease. So we started with 2 prostate cancer survivors. And in 1 year, this group grew from 2 survivors to over 100 prostate cancer survivors, helping them and their families as they deal with this disease called prostate cancer. The Empowerment Network really grew out of a need. And oftentimes in our community, we have to become the service that we need, because oftentimes that service is not in our community. The Empowerment Network was born out of that concept. you know, out of a need to empower families with information and education. The mission of the Empowerment Network is to reach out. The mission of the organization is to provide cancer outreach and advocacy, you know, and support for families and men in our community.